Betar USA, a propaganda film by Betar USA, a little bit earlier, but we, I guess, had so much to talk about that here we are. And this will be the first time that we'll be seeing his face and hearing about the story about how this incredible behind the scenes film was made. Let me just play the trailer for this film for those of you who haven't seen it yet and don't understand how explosive it is. This is the trailer to a propaganda film by Betar USA.
A lot of things said in the press that are true.
Whoops.
There are a lot of things said in the press that aren't true.
There's a group called Betar. Can you confirm whether that organization is providing lists to the Trump administration?
The Trump administration, the work that we're doing, whether it exists or not, I won't confirm.
We can't discuss on camera too much about the specifics of a lot of different things, but of course, Betar submits information to the government.
You are a terrorist! No, you're not. Terrorist! Terrorist! Terrorist!
Dude, get away
Terrorist!
Get away from her.
Betar made a joke about handing a beeper to a terrorist.
I see a beeper. There's a tremendous sense of Jewish pride now holding a beeper.
Free pages! Free pages!
Who are you to judge us?
Something is going to happen very, very soon.
You who put nails in the coffins of our kids, you who raped us in Kibbutz Be'eri, you who beat us in the streets of New York have nothing to say to us. Because we are the good.
Okay, well, that was the trailer for a propaganda film by Betar USA. You can see the film on our YouTube channel. I posted it in its entirety on Twitter X, where if you try to watch it and you're not logged in, you try to watch it from a laptop while logged out, it is age-restricted content, even though there is nothing in that film that would be rated R. At best, at worst, it would be rated PG-13. And meanwhile, on Twitter X, you can see all kinds of violent and pornographic content, as well as Pete Hegseth's snuff films of the U.S. massacring men on fishing boats in the Caribbean. So with that, we'll bring in the maker of this film. I'll let him introduce himself. Welcome to the Grayzone, Betar USA member.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Cool. Thank you for having me. Great show so far.
Yeah. So please introduce yourself to the Grayzone.
My name's Adam. Longtime watcher, consumer of the Grayzone. Big fan. Yeah.
Adam, do you have a last name that you want to share?
Maybe not.
Okay. So,
cool.
You approached me. I didn't know you, didn't know about anything about you, but you approached me about kind of a project that you were doing related to Betar USA. I mean, describe the genesis of this film, which I guess it didn't begin with making a film. Betar has accused you of infiltrating them. How did you get involved there with the most militant Zionist street group, which is essentially a front group for the Kahanist movement of Israel?
Yeah. I sent them an email and asked to join. And I joined as a video editor initially. And, you know, they didn't respond to my email about being a video editor. But once I kind of said that I had infiltrated the pro-Palestinian movement in Texas, they responded immediately, gave me a phone number, gave me Yoni Quitzel's phone number, who I had a conversation with.
That's the guy you see in the trailer who's saying having a pager is Jewish pride.
Yoni is the social media manager of Betar, and the stand-up comedian.
Yeah.
In his own right. And it's just generally just a good hang. And we talked on the phone, and the only, accreditation process to joining was being Jewish, and having been, the vetting process was like, how many times have you been to Israel? And I was like, so many. And yeah, and then I joined and started making some videos for their Twitter page. They would send me counter protest footage that they had
So you
shot.
basically signed up as their video editor, and they brought you in simply on the basis of you being Jewish
And having been to Israel. Yeah.
and having been to Israel.
Yeah, I don't know if that would have been, I don't know. I didn't, yeah. But those two things were the, yeah. And, yeah, and I, I made a few videos for them, and they put some of them out, and they were kind of just like, just bad, poorly edited, just sort of, just ridiculous videos. I was kind of trying to see if they had any, idea of what they wanted or what was good. I kind of tested the waters of the kinds of things that they would want, and anything goes, really. They kind of put up anything on their Twitter, all trolling, just trolling material, these kinds of things. And then yeah, at a certain point that got boring, and time that Mahmoud Khalil got detained, I proposed to both Ron and Yoni to make a PR film about the organization. Ron Torossian, the head of Betar USA, the founder of this iteration, is very concerned with PR. He's a PR guru himself. We can talk about that maybe a little, but I presented an idea to make a PR film about Betar to kind of counter what was being said in the media. They were starting to get some press, they were starting to get press because they were taking credit for Khalil's detainment, among other pro-Palestinian.
They basically took credit by saying that they had this kind of AI technology that allowed them to to match the faces of pro-Palestine student activists and show that they were here on green cards, and that they supplied the names of those on green cards to the Trump administration. And the Trump administration went after Mahmoud Khalil first. So should we watch a scene from the film related to that?
If you want, yeah, I mean, sure. So I just wanted to say, I think you took out the music from the trailer. That music is actually licensed. I have permission to. You have permission to use that music.
Okay.
I'm just saying. It's cool.
Yeah, I'm worried. Yeah, a lot of the music is licensed in the film, so this may get us demonetized, but we'll see what happens.
On the streets of Atlanta, on the streets of New Orleans, on the streets of Dallas, on the streets of San Diego, on the streets of Boston, and on the streets of...
This is Ron Torossian, who's the main subject of this film, who's the head of Betar USA, and helped bring Meir Kahana and his movement back to the United States, and infiltrate other organizations on behalf of the Kahanist ideology. And he's a major PR executive in New York.
Of New Orleans, you have no place in this country. If you come from a Middle Eastern nation where you do not have freedoms, and you come to this country and you speak about intifada and you speak about killing Jews, some of us won't be quiet. Some of us will stand up. And some of us will damn right say to the American government, they have no place here.
I think Khalil wrote a letter in jail blaming Betar. I can't get into details exactly what that role is, but I think for sure there's a real role played by Betar in deportations.
On just that one, or kind of all of them?
At least many of them.
That's Yoni Kletzel.
The spirit that we bring to New York that they don't understand. You know, these people, they can't fathom it. You know, there's a lot of layers behind this that...
So tell us what's happening here. This is a infamous scene.
Yeah, so that's Ramesa Ozturk, who was getting her doctorate in she had gotten her master's in developmental and child psychology, and she was actually on a she's a Fulbright scholar, so she's this kind of like impressive woman who was at Tufts, and she had written a well, you know, what we're seeing on screen is her getting detained by ICE. But the reason for that is that she wrote a op-ed in March of 2024.
She co-authored it.
What? Yeah, she co-authored it with three other, I believe, three other people. That basically it was just urging the president of the university to acknowledge resolutions that had already been passed by the Tufts Community Union Senate. And this was almost a half a year into Israel's genocide. So well into the genocide, she co-authored this piece in Tufts Daily, and that was you know, enough for her to get marked. Betar took credit for this. Who knows if they were actually the ones to you know, flag her. I can't say, but yeah, this is this very scary interaction, and I put it throughout the film, and I didn't put it there to exploit her or her situation. It's just a very alarming scene that I think represents a lot of I mean, it just shows what happened to people, and this one just happened to be caught on a CCTV or whatever was filming. It just happened to get caught on it. But there was many other instances like this that we just haven't seen because it just didn't get caught on camera. And then Ramesa got taken to a bunch of different facilities and ended up in a notoriously bad ICE facility that has poor conditions, terrible conditions. And she was there for a month and a half, and she wrote about her experience in Vanity Fair in this article, Even God Cannot Hear Us. I recommend people read that to hear about her experience in the ICE facility.
Yeah, this is a scene of secret police, of, you know, the brain police, thought police in the US streets. That's why I think this scene is so significant. And this is what the film opens with, but this is you know, where Betar explains their role in, they believe, influencing these kinds of arrests.
You know, I'm hesitant to speak of for reasons you can imagine. You know, it's you know, but it's good we tell the story because people should understand more about us, and like this, we're going to educate them about it.
I want to be your Jewish uncle. I want to be your Jewish aunt. I want to be your Jewish brother. I want to be a Jewish sister.
You guys really don't need to be doing all of that. Habibi, بدي أتصل فيك.
This is Mahmoud Khalil.
Hi, Amy. Yeah, they just like handcuffed him and took him. I don't know what to do.
You know, one of my biggest dreams for Betar this year, I'll say in June 2025, is I hope by June 2026 we have a lot of Betar marriages. I want more Betar babies.
Excuse me. They're not talking to me. I don't know. Excuse me.
This is his pregnant wife, Mahmoud Khalil's pregnant wife, panicking over him being led away in handcuffs.
The lawyer would like to speak to somebody. Oh my God, they're literally running away from me.
Every decision that a Beitari makes needs to be based on one very simple concept. Is it good for the Jews? Is it good for the Jews? Of course, one of our roles as we grow is to advocate for Jews to have weapons. Our people were massed in the street because they are fighting in the streets to protect the Jewish people, and their neighbors want to kill them. So our job is to teach Jews it's okay to stand up. And as you wear a mask in Gaza when you're fighting in Little Gaza in parts of Paris. Jabotinsky wrote, "Only kind of children I have ever loved are mischief makers." Betar are those mischief makers.
Free pages! Free pages! Yo, I got the Swallow's paper! Give it to the Swallow, you forgot it!
What is Masjid Nur al-Islam? How many 9-year-olds do they have in here? Stop fucking the children. Why did Muhammad suck so much dick? Fuck Muhammad. Stop raping 9-year-olds. This is where the children come in. This is where the children come in. We're coming here right afterwards.
Pretty disturbing. That was a Betar member, basically. The Betar member outside a mosque in New York City, harassing Muslims. You saw them handing out free pagers. I think they handed out a free pager to a pager to harass Norman Finkelstein. They handed out a pager to UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres. And did they hand one to Zoran Mamdani as well? So, and you were on that Zoom call that you recorded there, right?
Yeah. There was, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Yeah, there was a Zoom call where it was like an hour long, and there's only I think maybe 12 people in there or something, but I don't know, they just kept saying stuff that was worthy of going in the film. And that's actually where I learned that Ron had met Yoni randomly in Grand Central while Yoni was just handing out beepers in Grand Central. And Ron it's in the film, but Ron gives this he's very proud of Yoni and what he's doing, and continuing this legacy, I guess, that Ron views as valuable. And I think Ron kind of sees himself in Yoni, because Yoni is a settler. Yoni goes to the West Bank and lives in illegal Jewish outposts. That's in the film as well. He's in one of the scenes in the Zoom call. Yoni is at a outpost, just sort of spotted.
Really?
Yeah, he's spotted up, and he's talking about how he's there. And Ron's, and I say that there's a legacy there because Ron has a history of helping build illegal Jewish settlements. Ron, assisted Ateret Kohanim in the 90s, and he helped build the settlement of Har Homa.
Really?
Yeah, he bought bulldozers for that project to speed up the construction.
So Ateret Kohanim is the group that displaces Palestinians in East Jerusalem and will move in Jewish settlers almost overnight. And Ron Torossian, I mean, he's a very significant figure in New York politics. He claimed credit to you for raising lots of money for Richie Torres, the Democrat in the Bronx, who's one of the Israel lobby's biggest tools. And he claimed credit to you for raising lots of money for Eric Adams, the outgoing New York mayor.
Claims to be their biggest donors. He hosted Eric Adams's victory party when in 2021 when he became mayor in New York City. And he's proud of it. He's very, it's funny. I think sometimes people are you have to figure these things out, and you're oh, I got you. Ron is very proud of his influence, his political influence, and his influence in general, to his proximity to power. He's proud of that.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's one of the strengths of this film is it just let Ron speak for himself and Yoni Kletzel speak for themselves, and you show what they truly are. And 99% of our audience will reel in horror at what they genuinely, authentically are. So there's no need to apply an editorial lens or turn this into a hit piece or for you to narrate. You're just showing people what they believe and what they do. And in some ways, I think Betar would be wise to kind of embrace it, because I don't think you twisted their beliefs in any way.
They haven't. I think they have embraced it. They've commented on the Twitter video, great Betar promo, fund us now, and then they post in their GoFundMe. They are shameless. I think I don't know how they feel about the film, but they're definitely using the attention it is gathering to their advantage. And again, that comes back to Ron and his PR background.
Yeah. I at the same time, I don't think this film is flattering is a very flattering profile of them. And it highlights the reality, the political reality of Betar's connection to a violent extremist group, a group that was defined by the FBI as a violent extremist group that is very still powerful in New York politics. The Jewish Defense League, founded by Meir Kahane, which has carried out acts of terrorism inside the United States. The killing of Alex Ode, for example, the Western Regional Director of the Arab Anti-Discrimination League. They bombed his office. They've carried out fire bombings of diplomats. And Dov Hikind was involved in some of those attacks, and he is now an assembly member in New York who has been
Former assembly member.
Former assembly member. He's in your film. You can see him in there, and
sorry, he's not in the. He's actually not in the film. I just put him in the trailer.
Okay.
I didn't need to. I'm just saying because he was at the rally outside the Iranian mission to the UN, and he gave this fiery speech to a crowd before Ron. He opened for Ron at this protest. I sent Aaron the speech he gave. I don't know if we have time to play it, but it's an interesting, it's a very foreboding, apocalyptic speech that he gave.
President of the United States, God bless him, mentioned that within 2 weeks, America's going to decide what they're going to do. So I want to give you the news. It ain't going to happen in 2 weeks. The president does not need 2 weeks. He knows exactly what the situation is. He knows who he's dealing with, the Ayatollah Khomeini. And I guarantee you, stay tuned, watch your phones, listen to your radios. I guarantee you, something is going to happen very, very soon.
Yeah, and this is like a few days before the U.S. bombs Iran.
So he had a direct line to the White House.
I don't know. But Dov Hikind is an interesting figure. He was a leader in the JDL and an assemblyman for 40 years. And he's a registered Democrat who would like secure Borough Park, the Orthodox Borough Park voting block for Republicans, people like Rudy Giuliani, and in exchange for them just unconditionally supporting Israel. I would recommend David Sheen's work on Kahanists and democratic politics in the U.S. for kind of like a very he's a great journalist scholar on the Kahanist movement in the U.S.
Well, here's a segment from your film about the Kahanist roots of Betar USA. Set up.
Batinsky spoke about the tree in terms of what his movement needs to look like. Betar was always the ideological branch of the tree. The Likud party today is essentially the modern day Jabotinsky movement. Betar has traditionally been the youth movement of the Likud.
The Arab is a cancer in our midst. And you don't coexist with a cancer. A cancer you either cut out and throw out, or you die.
Back in the 60s, this 53-year-old rabbi founded the JDL in the United States, a group that used tactics of violence and confrontation in defense of Jews. 13 years ago, he moved to Israel, where he now crusades to throw all Arabs out of that country.
Violence is a terrible thing, but sometimes it's terribly necessary. because I respect the Arab, I want to throw him out.
You fucking do a 10-minute video of Kahana. They've never heard him speak. Kahana was the most amazing speaker. And he was so smart. And he was so right. At the end of the day, we can't live with them. And it's painful to say it, but you can't live with them. Finished. It's over. It's done. You can't live with them.
The murder of Rabbi Meir Kahana was a dark night in the history of the Jewish people. But just as the sun sets, so does it rise. Binyamin Ze'ev Kahana, the devoted son of Rabbi Meir Kahana, has stepped forward to continue the work of his father through Kahana Chai.
He is the campus coordinator of Kahana Chai, Mr. Ben Israel.
This is Ron Torossian. As a young man.
Friends, we are gathered here today for the 4th year that we have not had the greatest Jewish leader ever, Rabbi Meir Kahana. Kahana Chai, Kahana lives on. Kahana lives on.
So basically, this organization is connected to the Trump administration, and it bears the legacy of Meir Kahana, who was the genocidal leader of Kach, which was actually even banned inside Israel for a time, and represents Zionism in its rawest form because it believes there can be no Jewish and democratic state, because the democracy is a cancer within the Jewish ethno-supremacist state, because it allows the presence of non-Jewish Arabs or Palestinians. And your film pretty strongly establishes that.
Yeah, Ron is, when we were doing the interview at his office, his 5W PR office, he talks about Jabotinsky, and this is his ideologue. This is kind of his, he constantly quotes him. He always refers back to him whenever he kind of like gets lost in a train of thought. But over the phone, the phone calls that we have throughout the film, he's more referring to Kahana than Jabotinsky, or he's just he's referring to Kahana. And that's, that's because you're not supposed to openly be Kahanist. This is something that is, let's say, it's, you're not supposed to. So in private, he's talking about Kahana this way.
And how would you assess the influence of Kahanism within the broader pro-Israel world after October 7th? It seems to me that it's become almost mainstream.
I don't know if I'm qualified to answer that, but
through your experience with Betar, for example.
It's almost normative. In the sense that it feels like there can't be any consequences for saying just the most outlandish things, because there isn't any consequences for saying those kinds of things. The stuff that they say online is absurd. It's not, it's not absurd. It's insane. There's been no repercussions. There's been nothing. They're a nonprofit. This group is a registered nonprofit. They're a 501c3. And so are like a bunch of other Zionist organizations that funnel money to Israel and to the IDF and to settlements. They're not unique. This is not a unique group by any means. Ron is a odd, strange character. He's very dramatic and theatrical, and he kind of has this presence, but I don't think Betar is that unique of a group. The thing that makes them unique is how unabashed they are. They're just not. They're not how they have no shame. There are other organizations that do the same kinds of things that they do. Canary Mission does these doxes people, puts people on a list. They've been doing it for over 10 years. But they just don't. They don't go out. They don't have a public face. They don't go out in public and brag about it. The ADL has been putting people on lists since the '60s with Erwin Saul for 30 years, making lists. Like, the ADL. The ironic thing about Ron criticizing what he sees as, the Jewish left, which he sees as the ADL, which is absurd, is that the ADL has laid the groundwork for Betar to do the kinds of things that they're doing. The ADL has been spying on U.S. citizens for decades. They have made lists of, over 10,000 American citizens, mostly Arab Americans and Palestinians, and they've sent those lists to the U.S. government, but also to the Israeli government. And the ADL, Ron, during our interview, Ron took every moment to criticize the ADL. He constantly criticized them. I actually sent you an audio clip of him criticizing them. I don't know if you want to play it. It's pretty explicit. But, the ADL does the actual bureaucratic work that gets policy things done. And Betar sort of cashes in on it. They can criticize them publicly, but really they have somewhat of the same, they're working towards the same end in a certain sense. Yeah.
Well, sorry, I was muted. The ADL is like the uptown Betar, and they have long-standing ties to U.S. federal law enforcement, the heart of the Israeli government, and intelligence. They have an office in Silicon Valley, so they're taking up all the space, and Betar is trying to move into that space with a more honest, raw distillation of Zionism.
Yeah, and Jonathan Greenblatt, when he was trying to talk about the media war or whatever, the information war, he was giving a speech. I think it was in Israel, and he references the beeper, this terrorist attack of the pagers and the walkie-talkies. He references it in this sort of like innovative, the way the media talked about it, as if it was this innovative thing that didn't, maim thousands of innocent people. Like it was, it's absurd. He
said, we need to embrace the same innovation that the Mossad employed with the pager attack in tamping down on quote unquote anti-Semitism, meaning anything that challenges the objectives of Israel inside the U.S. And here is a recording this is an outtake from your film on Betar. This is a recording of Ron Torossian that you taped during a phone call about his views of the Anti-Defamation League.
ADL called us an extremist organization. Did you know that? Okay, so listen to me. They called an organization that I founded, that I'm a member of my whole fucking life. They called us an extremist hate organization without so much as calling me. I told them, I'm going to show up in your fucking house now. You're speaking to me. I'm the grandson of Holocaust survivors, a student of Zev Jabotinsky, who you've probably never even heard of. ADL, he's writing a report. I'm going there to your face. I'm from New York. You're not going to tell me what to do. I'm an Israeli. You're not going to tell me what to do. How come I'm the only Jewish American parent to have gotten arrested? How can it be? How can it be? What an outrage. You understand, brother? Are you with me?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And what he's referring to at the end there is getting arrested at his daughter's university, for just doing whatever. I don't really know what he did, but this arrest led to him starting Betar. It was a reaction. Yeah, it was a reaction. He says it in the doc. It was a reaction of him getting arrested, and this was what he did.
So Ron Torossian, he's clearly unhinged from these interactions that you recorded. He's unashamed of his fanatical views, which have a lot of currency right now, particularly within the Zionist world. And a lot of these stories of his unhinged behavior, I first became aware of reading outlets that covered the New York PR, public relations and marketing world, because he was a major PR executive who represented high profile clients in New York who were some of Ron Torossian's clients. And what happened with his business?
Some of his, he runs 5WPR, which is one of the biggest PR companies in New York City. 5W standing for the five W's, for what, who, what, when, this kind of thing. And his big clients, he represents a lot of entertainers. He's represented Snoop Dogg, Little Kim, P. Diddy, Pitbull. He has a lot of black entertainers that he's
Ice Cube.
But also political figures too, like the boxer turned mayor of Kiev,
Klitschko, Vitaly Klitschko.
Yep, and the Eric Trump Foundation, and other kinds of media syndicates like Sinclair Broadcasting Group and Trinity Broadcasting Group. These big media conglomerates.
Those are like, Sinclair is like the big GOP broadcasting syndicate, and Trinity is, Rexella and Jack Van Impe and Charles Stanley and all of the Christian right kind of hucksters.
Yeah.
And he also represented, didn't he represent the company that controls Pornhub?
MindGeek. Yeah. He's got his feet and everything. And McDonald, he's done work with McDonald's. He got his start in PR. It always comes back to Israel. He got his start in PR with the Likud party. And before he started 5WPR, he gave a tour of, he brought Peter Vallone Sr., who was running for governor of New York in the 90s, and he brought him to visit Israel and to visit specifically as many illegal settlements as possible, including Hebron. And this sort of leads him into the PR business. He wrote a book. I don't want to, he wrote a book, and you can read that.
Just sold him some books.
Yeah, I mean, me and Ron are good friends, and I think that I find him fascinating, and I wanted
You would say Ron is a friend of yours now?
I don't know. We haven't talked since the film came out. But
like, why did you go to the Grayzone with this film? These are fucking Jew haters who want us to put nails in the coffins of our kids. I mean, you don't think he'd be mad at you for making this? Or
I don't know. I don't know, man. I'll have to see. I haven't talked to him. I could call him, but
I would like to see the result of that. But again, I mean, you're presenting his real, authentic views without editorial filter, and it's not a hit piece.
I find Ron fascinating, and I wanted to create a portrait of him and present him, to the world, and that was the goal. I wasn't, it wasn't a hit piece, and I don't even view it as an expose, to be frank. I just wanted to. I found his group really interesting, and the work that
I think it is an expose, because the corporate mainstream media will not do this kind of reporting and show everyone what Zionism truly is at the street level. They will not let them present their authentic views, and they will not say, Meir Kahane, he's pretty influential. They just won't do it. It's always an interview that's very sanitized with Benjamin Netanyahu and like Patrick Bet-David asking him softball questions. Some guy with the IQ of a toaster oven that Netanyahu hand selects. Yeah. And this, while not being a hit piece, is pretty, I mean, to me, it's damning because of my political perspective.
Yeah.
Are you an anti-Zionist?
Yeah, I mean, we can, yeah.
So you're a Jewish anti-Zionist.
Yeah.
How did you come to that point? And how did that influence your desire to better understand Betar and make this film?
I made this film because I was full of dread and hopelessness every day watching Israel commit a genocide, and I didn't know what to do. And this seemed like something to do, something I was capable of doing. Getting access to them is something that, only you can't, as I said, the requirements to joining this group were being Jewish.
Yeah.
And so I took advantage of that and tried to get inside of a group that, most people can't access, and show it on its honest face. You're right. It is maybe you're right. It is an expose, in that sense. And I came to the conclusion of how what I think, because I think it's obvious,
Is your family supportive of what you're doing?
No.
They're not. They're Zionists.
Yeah.
Do you fear backlash from this film, or fear for your safety at all? I mean, producing what could be seen as an expose of a violent group.
Yeah, it's possible. I don't care. I mean, it's possible. Yeah, it's entirely. Yeah, I mean, these people. Yeah, they do bad things. That's not too much of a concern for me, to be honest.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's something about I don't know. There's something very inspiring about Palestinian resistance that has sort of inspired me to not really fear a person like Ron or Yoni. I mean, there's nothing they can do to me.
Yeah, I think when you see what they're doing in Gaza, it makes you more willing to make a sacrifice like this, in which you could, face consequences. But because I feel like we all have to do something. And one of the things you can do as a Jewish anti-Zionist is get on the inside where others can't. I mean, it was my horror at the first major assault on the Gaza Strip, Operation Cast Lead, back in 2008, 2009, that motivated me to do the Goliath Project and, go places inside Israeli society that I could only go as a Jew, and use my knowledge of that world to gain access and show people the real Israel that the rest of the US media wasn't showing them. I think real disclosure is a revolutionary act when we live in a society with so much censorship and conditioning and indoctrination and control, and particularly in the Jewish world with all the indoctrination that takes place there in order to maintain generational continuity. What you're doing here to me, is revolutionary. So there's a lot of people in the comments that they don't really understand who they are. They're suspicious, but you're a first-time filmmaker. So you're not going to be as gung-ho with your beliefs as I am. This is the first time you've kind of come out and done a public film project or any journalism. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just before this I was just making comedy videos in Texas with like some comics like Casey Rocket and Union Brooks and Conrad Fagan, and these people that some people know, some people don't. But yeah, this is my first I guess documentary. Yeah.
It's very well made. I mean, it's almost like, we talked over the course of your production of it, but I don't think I had that much input. You would occasionally ask me some questions, but you were pretty much off on your own, wherever you are making this. And I think just as a piece of art, it's very well done. And it speaks to me just as someone who's made films. You managed to convey the subject matter and the subjects really well without any narration. It didn't remind me of the early films of Adam Curtis before his films became so convoluted and impossible to follow. Is that what you were going for? I mean, talk about your artistic vision.
Oh man. Yeah, I love Adam Curtis. Power of Nightmares is an incredible documentary. I love everything he does. And something that's cool is that the music that one of the artists that is in the film that I have that is licensed is Pie Corner Audio, which is a British musician who sort of that drone synth that kind of reappears throughout the film. That's a Pie Corner Audio is consistently in Adam Curtis's films. So that was like a cool connector kind of thing. But I got some help along the way. I don't want to put a target on anyone's back, but David Sheen was incredibly helpful. Youssef Munier was incredibly helpful. Jack Polson was helpful. Jeremy Lafredo of the Grayzone was someone who I first got in contact with before I got in contact with you. And he kind of, his experience was very useful, and he was connecting me with people, and he was a great resource. He's a great guy. I mean, it wasn't this kind of like singular vision. This project went through many drafts. I had a version that I was like in it and narrating, and it changed a lot, and I got a lot of help from my friends here as well through along the way. So I can't pretend to kind of have this vision of what it was supposed to be. It kind of just ended up what it was.
David Sheen's definitely an important resource. I wish he were doing more interviews. He's actually, despite being a friend, he's not accepting my interview requests, but he has a major project coming out about the temple movement and the real apocalyptic direction of Jewish-Israeli politics post Netanyahu. I think it's one of the most important coming projects. So I'm hoping to interview him about that. And I can see his influence on this film.
Yeah, I had a lot more stuff about Kahanism that I cut just for time, but yeah, he was a tremendous help. And just in general, like alternative media that I've been consuming was a great resource for making this, the Grayzone, but also like Electronic Intifada, East is a Podcast, the Anti-Empire Project, Millennials Are Killing Capitalism, certain books, Our American Israel by Amy Kaplan. There's certain works, this book specifically, actually, From Underneath The Time Beneath the Concrete. This is a great book. I highly recommend it.
From Underneath the Concrete.
Yeah, The Time Beneath the Concrete. It's a fantastic book about the refugee camps and UNRWA. Just all sorts of just people making art and writing and speaking about this subject has been, it's the reason this project got made.
Amy Kaplan was a friend who encouraged me when I was younger in the work I was doing when she was at University of Pennsylvania, my alma mater. And she's unfortunately no longer with us. Her last project was about the power of Israel in the U.S. and connecting the Israeli colonial project to U.S. settler colonialism historically. So that's great that you mentioned her. Let's watch another clip, an outtake that didn't make the cutting room floor, but is pretty revelatory. This is Yoni Kletzel, Ron's underling, going to Times Square.
What's up? What do y'all action today, man? Do you think Iran should have nuclear weapons?
Every country should have nuclear weapons. Who the fuck are we to tell anybody what they can't have, man?
So what if they nuke the world?
That's why every country got nukes. They gonna nuke them back.
Owned.
So you think Iran should have nuclear weapons? No, do it now, do it now. What if they nuke you? What if they nuke you? What if you get nuked? What's up, Bob? I'm Yoni. What's your names?
Linda.
What's your name?
Yoni.
Yoni.
Yeah.
That's a pussy.
I know. You are what you eat.
Oh, my bad. I put explicit on the. But yeah.
Kind of, it seems like kind of a sad individual who's kind of lost.
Well, yeah, we did that after we went after the interview at Ron's. We went with Yoni and filmed some street interview content, and Yoni gets paid $8,000 a month, which to like harass Muslim college girls online and like do TikTok content. So
By who?
What?
Who's ponying up that kind of money? I mean, this is like the set we talk about the 7K cartel, 7,000 per post. I mean, you have to work a little bit harder than those clowns, but that's still a lot of money.
I mean, he's working for his checks, and Yoni, I mean, you can go on his Twitter X, the Everything App page, and you can check him out and look at the kinds of things that he's making. I don't know what I'm saying.
So what do you think should happen with this film project? I think there should be screenings. What would you like to see happen?
I don't know. I think people are watching it, so that was the first. That's good. I have no plan. I have no plans for this, really, to be honest. The goal was to get it on the Grayzone. The goal was to get it on the Grayzone, and that happened. So I'm in disbelief still for that. So I don't know what else.
Life goal unlocked. Look, I wouldn't have published it if it wasn't an incredible film. Like, I didn't know what you were going to hand me, and I was just like glued to my laptop watching it. It got darker and better as it went on, and you packed it all into an hour. And I think in an expert way, you knew what to cut out and kept the most important parts in. When I work, I do a lot of editing of, other documentarians' work, and I'm doing a lot of editing on them. There's a lot of back and forth on this. There was very little back and forth because I liked it so much. So I'd like to have some screenings. I think this is an important piece of political, an important vehicle for political education. So hopefully we can do that at some future Grayzone events, and you can participate. But yeah, thanks so much for coming out and showing your face and being with us.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I just wanted to, if it's okay, I just wanted to shout out 3 resources for Gaza
definitely.
that I think are important. The Lifeline for Gaza is a website that takes these donation campaigns and kind of filters them to arrange for like the last time someone donated. So some of them don't get donated for weeks, and that goes to the front, and that's a good resource. Rebuild Gaza 24 is a campaign of building water wells in Gaza. They've destroyed pretty much all the water wells in Gaza, so that's a great campaign. And there's one more called the Trahome. It's TRAHOM.org, and it's an orphan sponsorship program that provides aid and housing for orphans in Gaza. So I think those are 3 good resources to contribute to donate to. Sorry, I just wanted to.
Yeah, no, thank you for those shout outs. I'm always interested as well in how we can get aid to Gaza. Since it's still just trickling in, it's barely reaching Gaza. No rebuilding is taking place, except by the Gaza municipality, which I've heard can be supported legally through the U.S. I remember one of the last conversations we had before you turned this film in. I think it was like during one of the darkest moments of the genocide. You basically asked me, how do you stay sane? Like, how do you keep going doing this kind of stuff? And it's like, by doing these projects, by doing the work we're doing, that's the only way I can keep sane. And also, I don't really know how to do anything else. So I hope that this project was therapeutic for you as well. It can be definitely agonizing to be a Jewish anti-Zionist in this environment.